the factory was well. Building the factory was initially very intimidating, at least for me, someone who had never played. It's extremely overwhelming at first, and honestly, it was a lot more fun the second time through with Postmated 2, because I actually understood roughly what was going on. Just finishing the tutorials with the factory takes around 3 to 4 hours, which should give you an idea of how deep the system goes. Once you get into the group of things, I personally found it incredibly fun and fulfilling, spending literally hours just with replacements and trying to optimize resources. Origin 4 is where everything originates. The entity factory system, which serves as both an energy source and a key ingredient in many production recipes. There are frankly a lot of systems involved. Mining with gather ores like originium, amethyst, and barium, which essentially act as a type-level upgrade for your factory. You also have power usage, because you need to keep your AI powered at all times, and in order to do so, there's batteries from lithium, but from thermal banks to manage energy flow. There's frankly so many subsystems and resource chains like water systems, seed loops, gear components, capsules, models, medicine, explosives, turrets, and trust me, so much more. At its core, the factory is basically a giant puzzle about managing resources in and resources out, and deciding what you want to prioritize, and then eventually funneling as many resources as you can into what matters most in the direction. The factory is the main source of credit for the items so it plays a huge role in the overall direction. The factory system is also genuinely the highest quality factory gameplay I've personally seen in any game, with this level of visual fidelity. I personally found it fulfilling to min-max, optimize layouts, and choose efficiency at the cost of many extra hours I didn't anticipate spending on moving rocks around. Because the factory is so important to progression, players who don't have time or patience for a complex factory simulator game may bounce off the game early. So for more casual players, I can see the factory being a turn-off.
I hear cowering prey.
And this leads us to regional credit, where the factory and factory system allow you to collect credits. As opposed to the two that are full and your own individual credits. These credits are very useful in account progression. They are credits by developing factory outposts, individual environmental bonuses. If there's a stock market, which is buy good while they're cheap, then trade what it means. While the most traditional stock market is I would but the most important purchases are endgame progression items. There are great WuWa credit shop. We'll talk about what these things do. These two materials are absolutely crucial for late-game gearing and powering up your operators, making regional credits one of the most impactful systems in the entire game.
Need to check for more patrol units nearby.
After talking about the factory system, the little overwhelming handful was actually just on the callback, which can also be just good for us. You build your characters, controlling one at a time and doing this really quick to do that. Their upfield allies are active, their auto attack is quite better than, but most of the ones that kill full members share this pool of skill points, up to 3 at a time. Casting any character skill to one skill point. And personally, I find this system to be a bit restrictive, because everything is drawn from the same pool of skill points. As such, a lot of the time, I'm just auto-attacking, waiting for a skill point to generate. Some characters do help generate XP faster and underway, like I believe dodging helps a little bit, but the lack of skill points can almost
I hear cowering prey.
combo skill which is typically triggered by certain actions like the enemy, or applying enough statuses on them, yada yada yada. Conversely, doesn't talk about food, but it shows the number of food that of course each person also has a function, it does the combat and the energy is spent individually. Combat involves heavily of elements and benefits that ailment. First, starting off with physical elements, that are just physical, because it's not really an element. Second, they actually have more static effects built into it, with crush, knockdown, float, and freeze. Technically, putting an end to all multiple states will add itself a multiple state. Knockdown and float will continue to add multiple states even at any time or not, and crush and freeze will consume multiple stats for extra damage and other benefits. But as you can see here, the goal of the physical is to apply as many multiple stacks and to then deal basic crush damage to the enemy. Meanwhile, we have elements as well, known as parts. Each part's elements can also stack up to 4 times on an enemy.
The water is drained. Time to head to the bell tower.
Nature, and heat. And if you have
That monster is hiding in the depths of the aqueducts.
A different element, it will inflict a status effect on the enemy. For example, having any element of the enemy against fire will perform solidification, which freezes small inside enemy. And if you apply physical vulnerability, like with crush or something, you can shatter them for massive physical damage. Some characters also specialize in consuming elements and stacks. For example, Last Right, Combo Trigger requires adding 3 tile stacks on the enemy, consuming them all in one huge strike, which scales based on the number of stacks of tiles you consume. And finally, one system that is worth mentioning is that you can spend the
Winds of the
energy
wild.
to perform a big break attack, and the enemy is more vulnerable to your attack. As you can see, combat becomes a rapid ability. In addition, stack consumption, combo triggers, SP management, and also survivability checks. Thankfully, a transfer would be amazing for running all this stuff. I digress. This all leads me to the biggest issue I have with Enfield's combat, which is the endgame. As far as I'm aware, there is no real endgame mode in Pro 32.
Just this gate standing between me and the heart of the aqueducts. It won't open. I'll have to find another route. Huh? The copper mirror is calling. The warrior used it to see the past. I wonder if there's anything of that here.
Personally, I expect them to introduce the engine both after some time has passed, similar to us.
The copper mirror is calling. The warrior used it to see the past. I wonder if there's anything of that here.
There is this case of spinning salvage mode. You actually get all the points in there. That's it. It's done. So I personally don't really consider this like the engine mode. And this is a good time to talk about endgame progression. Okay, so I realized I yapped about the endgame progression for like 5 minutes. So really it's not going to be applicable to anyone until you play the game for a while. So to really just very quickly summarize, you will take management sources to the characters up to the maximum and your weapons up to the maximum and load the talent to the max as well. And to really don't give them a standard to do so. Not only that, but while the gear is craftable and there is no MP that comes with your stats, you need to sacrifice gear to upgrade your gear and it costs a ton of moving credits to make your body. Also, essences for your weapons, first you have to farm the base essence, and then you have to sacrifice essences to your essences, which I would anticipate could take up to 3 to 5 days to upgrade a single level on a single essence, especially once you've leveled up essences in a decent amount. So yeah, you can definitely expect a long and line for maxing out your characters and archetypes and field, unless they continuously scam the rewards and or events give us a ton of extra stuff. One more gameplay aspect of the game I briefly want to talk about are the towers. There's a decent selection of towers to construct for defensive and offensive purposes. Generally, you want to invest these as energy alleviant points in the overworld to help you farm your weapon essences. It is very satisfying to watch the towers you level build, zap and blast your enemies while doing your daily farming. There's also a tower defense light mode, where you build some towers for your outposts to help defend them against enemy attacks while you're away.
Scissors
Those
at the
are
ready.
a lot of fun though, and I do expect Arcnight and to improve on this system as time moves on.
Hopefully, we'll make new findings.
Anything I can help you with?
Alright, let's talk about the gacha. Arguably the most important part of any gacha game. Do you like fast rights? Well, you could be like me and spend hours running through the story, then end up with Pog nickname. Yeah, as Pog as this guy's name is and as many things as he is, he's definitely not a character I personally wanted, but I do find his gameplay pretty good. Anyway, it costs 500 overall for a full, I apologize for saying that correctly, and there are 3 rarities for characters and weapons, the 4-star rarity of lowest, 5-star rarity, and 6-star rarity of the highest. There's also a featured character banner, which actually deviates quite a bit from what's normalized by the industry. First, there's the standard 50% chance to get the featured character. Then, there's only a 0.8% base chance to get a 6-star character. But there is an 80-pull or pity that guarantees you a 6-star character at these points. Fortunately, this 80-pull for a guaranteed 6-star does cross over to featured banners. Now, where this banner deviates significantly from most gacha games is that these featured banners actually contain 3 views from featured characters. So despite Raven being featured, Yvonne and Gilberta are also new characters, and if you lose it 50-50, there's a small chance for you to get them. Then the next banner will actually feature Yvonne with Raventon and Gilberta as potential 50-50 losses, and the banner after that will feature Gilberta. Once these 3 banners are done, these 3 characters will not be added to the standard banner. So yeah, it's kind of neat you're able to get one of the other new characters before their banners are even released. Next, there is a 120-pull guarantee for the featured character. Although, if you get the character early, I believe this pull guarantee goes away. Unfortunately, this 120 counter does not carry over, and this is where the pain in the banner comes into play. This means that you need to save up 120 pulls to guarantee the character you want, and if you lose the 50-50, you can theoretically
Scissors at the ready.
never get a featured character on your account.
Would
for
you
the
like
entire
a
duration of playing Arcnight Dead.
Scissors at
So
the ready.
if you are risk averse and don't want another Pog nickname, you'll have to save 120 pulls to guarantee any future banner character. Finally, you get 10 free pulls for the next banner if you do 60 pulls for this banner or something. At least that's what I think this is. So kind of a small discount if you're willing to gamble. Also, there's a beginner banner which features the standard 6-star characters. You'll also get the 40 pulls specifically for this banner by beating the first story chapter. Then you're guaranteed a 6-star character, and it goes away after 40 pulls. You also get a standard 6-star weapon selector as well, which is actually really nice. And naturally, there's also a standard character banner, where it's 80 pulls to guarantee a 6-star character, and 300 pulls for a standard character selector. Now, my first impressions are that these character banners are great. And playing through Closed Beta 2, I never felt like I had a bunch of pulls. Also, getting dupes of 6 stars doesn't feel very good at all, because from what I've seen, most of their dupes are fantastic. And yes, this is a good time to pursue just catching dupes, where you can pull up to 6 copies of a character to max them out with 5 dupes. Ultimately, those gotcha systems are determined by how much currency you get, but as of the Closed Beta 2, I certainly didn't feel like I needed a lot of pulls. Also, we all got the 6-star character Ardelia for free on day 3 just by logging in, so that's nice, and hopefully they keep that for lunch. Needless to say, there's also a weapon banner in Arcnight's Enfield, where you can call for 6-star weapons. Fortunately, you do get weapon gotcha currency or arsenal tickets from simply doing character pulls. You get 20 points for a 4-star character, 200 points for a 5-star character, and 2,000 points for a 6-star character. So, yeah, if you get really lucky and get a bunch of 6-star characters, you'll actually get even further ahead thanks to getting way more weapon pulls as well. Anyway, it costs 1,920 for a 10 pull for a weapon. If you're unlucky with your character pulls, every 80 pulls.
Baba Gaba. I'll just plug it on there. Alright. Dude, yes.
The copper mirror is calling. The warrior used it to see the past. I wonder if there's anything of that here.
You know what? I used to see. Remember reading that, haven't
I've already pulled that body from the sea.
Yeah.
So Mia has been dead all this time. She didn't leave Septim when she went. The sea took her.
Connection 7.
Obstruction. Rather funny seed. Nothingness. Deconstructed.
Translates to roughly 20 pulls per weapon, and there's a 4% chance to get a 6-star weapon, and a 1% chance to get the future 6-star weapon that you want. After doing 10 pulls, you're guaranteed to complete weapons tonight. The guarantee will not cross over to future weapon owners, and you can also just purchase certain 6-star weapons, which I believe belong to various lower range characters, which is nice. And there's also many 5-star weapons in the shop as well. You can obtain some partial tickets on occasion in the defense point shop as well, further making the defense system very important. And then shares of the standard banner weapons are permanent, so you can just gradually work towards those if you want one of the standard banner weapons for a standard banner character. And finally, if you run out of arsenal tickets, you don't appear to be able to spend all world roll or the premium currency to do more pulls, so you just have to do more character pulls, or potentially just buy them. But yeah, since the 80 whole city doesn't cross over to future weapon banners, we have another banner system where you're incentivized to save your
This
weapon
place
banner
has the
full
Praxidus
when you have
written
enough
all
to
over it.
guarantee a weapon that you want.
Without the
My
silvers
first
keeping the
impressions
place
are that
hidden,
the
they
weapon
wouldn't
banner
have
is
dared.
decent, but it's completely going to be dependent on how
The
many pulls
irony.
you get for the
A
characters
septum-
themselves. So overall, I think Arknight's
I
Enfield
trust
is a
you've seen
visually
the
fantastic
experimental
game,
unit in
and
the
I personally had a
aqueducts.
blast trying to squeeze in
Well,
an hour possible
what do you
because
think?
this game felt. Hi, welcome back. With the gotcha system for Arknight's Enfield finally revealed, we are already seeing a huge amount of players pass through the filter saying they don't want to touch a game with such predatory gotcha mechanics. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you why the Arknight's Enfield gotcha system is actually much better than you think. I'm going to prove that using a piece of code which calculates gotcha output, which I'm going to reveal at the end of the video, so you better stick around. Just before we jump into the content, I've got something I want to talk to you about. Creating these videos over the past 2 years has been super fun, but it's also a lot of work. So help me make more content for you by checking out Raid Shadow Legends. I'm sure you all know about it at this point.
If
It's a
not
fun
for the
fantasy
sword
themed
embedded in her
turn-based RPG
chest,
game,
I
all
could
about
mistake
collecting
the
characters
corpse
and
for being
fighting powerful
alive.
enemies. It's got all the RPG game essentials, tons of amazing gameplay, and incredibly fleshed out endgame content. So, if you're a fan of this stuff, you're going to love it. You'll also
Disgusting.
get rewards valued at more than $200 by
To
downloading
treat
it using my
Septimon
link in the
like a
description and
plaything.
the comment. It's free, won't regret
Unforgivable.
it, and I would really, really
What is
appreciate
so
it. Now let's get on to the
poetic or
content.
romantic
So as a
about a
recap
story
and
where
TLDR
someone
of the
is driven
Enfield
to
gotcha
death?
system, every pull is worth 500 gems, aka more memorable. Star characters with the following rates. You are guaranteed a 5-star every 10 roll and a 6-star every 80 rolls.
Obstruction.
I'm not that buckle.
Come. Meet your end. Huh? Huh? Eye of the Raven.
Beinahe, ja.
Don't run. Keep the dance going. The lovely smell of all my prey. Grafting, suffer.
5-star every 10 roll and 6-star. Once, because it's a 50-50. Yeah. Once you lose a 50, one is 17. The last one, the colonies beat to the powers of the characters. What about all the stuff? But I would say, every time you fight, you guaranteed an extra token for 6-star, which is just pay attention though. How can they you are guaranteed an extra token. Balls, which means if you don't block any 6-star, 40, you are guaranteed an extra token. Well, you get lots of attention though, after a guaranteed token
Viburnum.
you are guaranteed an extra token every roll.
The bloodleaf viburnum of Septimate. Oh, I understand. It's a flower often given to gladiators. A symbol of victory.
There's a philosophy that when you look at the guarantee you have to get the first copy of the Green guarantee. So that's really that it's relative to the brains of the value. That's what I'm seeing. So then the first one is and he gets another predatory or something. It's this 100% like because everybody else would note the amount of currency you need for a bull is completely irrelevant. Genshin Impact, you need 163 merchants for a bull, we know that. The same goes for both WuWa and HSR. Although, for the longest time until recently, Wuthering Waves and HSR rewarded the players with way more currency than ever fetched until
Shame
Genshin
for something I didn't choose. Shame for something that's just there.
Ratio staying the same,
Sometimes
WuWa and HSR were nearly twice as rewarding. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? No? Okay, let's give another example. Fate Grand Order is one of the least rewarding gacha games of all time because of how scarce the currency Saint Quartz is. How much do you expect every pull to cost? 500? 600? Maybe even 1,000? No! Every pull is 3 Saint Quartz. And yet FGO is still an incredibly stingy game for FTP players compared to many other games. You will be hard-pressed to find an FGO player
If divinity takes up arms against the innocent,
just because the currency per pull is 3 doesn't mean you can do it. It all depends on how much currency the game gives you. People are automatically assuming that just because the currency is 500 per pull, we're going to get absolutely nothing. Yet, let's say, the same amount of currency as the big 4 games. In my experience in Enfield so far, I was only able to play around 6 hours possibly, unoptimally by the way. I spent a lot of my time moving around and I was still able to get 30 pulls on the limited banner, 40 pulls on the starter banner, which everyone was able to get as well, and 40 pulls on the standard banner. So, TLDR, complaining about the pull economy just because it's 500 or no pull is really stupid. But of course, in the end, this will entirely depend on how much currency and is going to give us in Enfield. And based on their track record in Arknights and my experience in the beta, it's completely fine. Now let's really get down to the meat and potatoes of the whole debacle, which are the pity and spark system complaints. The whole issue is that the 120 on-banner character guarantee local banners. The only other way to get beyond banner characters is by winning a 50-50. So people are up in arms. There's 200 people on this inventory system that will stop it.
I swear by the eternal sun, I will slay you!
There's 200 people on this inventory system that will stop it. The biggest problem I've seen for this game is always compare the worst case scenario in this game to the best case scenario in other games.
From the fear and the longings of civilization, I was wrought. Born of the hearts of countless men and women, of babes and of the aged. With sharp blades and silver tongue, you struggle for
The
power.
most common argument I see is if you get too early 6 stars, you lose both 50-50, but if you get too early 5 stars in other games, one is guaranteed to be the on-banner character. This argument may first seem valid, but it is taking the worst and best case scenario, putting it up against a best to best case scenario
Mia
in the game.
Totorem with dignity. Your very existence
Well,
is an
let's
insult
fix it.
to her.
The absolute worst case scenario in any of these games is pulling into the hard guarantee. 160 pulls in WuWa, 180 in Oyo games, but of course only 120 in Enfield. If you are a person who claims to be always unlucky, then the least chapter you'll get in any of these games is in Enfield. You could lose 119 before getting the on-banner character, but chances are if you do get too early 5 stars, then you are getting the on-banner character because this is a 50-50. I know people hate 50-50s for good reason. I'm not defending them, I'm just telling you to be realistic. But either way, the lost pool in Enfield is by far the smallest. WuWa's is down like 50, Genshin has capturing radius which applies after these 50s. Enfield, however, isn't a 50-50 because there will always be 2 limited operators in the lost pool, making it a 50-50, and then you lose the roll into round 7. This might not seem huge statistically, but as we'll see later, with a piece of code, it accounted to a non-ability 6 stars requirement. Well now, what about the Invincibility Spark not carrying over? I said it's fine, but I provided no reason as to why it is. I sourced it, then I made it the fuck up. Well, the 8-bitting does carry over. If you put 60 balls on David Dane's banner, you will get a 6 star with 20 balls on the box. Players will absolutely, certainly feel forced and pressure to not pull when they have less than 20 balls. I will there. However, because of the 80 balls character and long with limited units taking over multiple banner cycles, I just don't see it as that big of an issue on paper. Practice is going entirely depend on how much currency you get, just like the rest of the economy system, obviously. The economy number is around 10 balls per patch. This is fine. Finally, just before we get to the code, I want to say that these Arc-Knights so far in Enfield are basically complete nothing good. The most they do is just stats and slightly use to what operators do, so that if you're ever able to get an over 6 star, you should just completely stop pulling right there, because no other 6 star will really benefit you that much, at least not in more than one safety push. They're unlike the other big 4, they're groups that potentially insane upgrades. Also, weapons are free! Now, not every limited weapon will be purchasable, 6 star weapons cost between 4,000 tickets. But last beta, you lost weapons purchasable, they became spontaneous, so it might be a random text thing. Now the weapon gotcha is 25.75, which isn't exactly very nice, but the rate for a 6 star drop is 4%, so it's effectively a 1%, despite what it breaks actually. And again, it's free! If you don't get lucky, you'll probably not be able to get every single 6 star weapon for every operator you get, especially if they're not purchasable, but you are totally able to get new ones. Again, it's free! Okay, now it's time to reveal the code. I rewrote this thing like 4 times because I had so many mistakes the first couple of times
Greatness
that I
has no
really
summit,
inflated a few
and
numbers
victory
here and
is
there.
never the
But now,
final
after I
word.
fixed them, the numbers are much more realistic. So, in this piece of code, I have a simulation for Genshin's, WuWa's, and Enfield's gotcha systems simulating 100,000 pulls and feats, except I have 2 versions of Enfield, one that simulates pulling on one single banner continuously, only claiming the 120 guarantee once, and then claiming the bonuses every 40 pulls afterwards. Then one that simulates a two player
Race to the
experience,
finish!
where the absolute max don't get on a single banner.
To face
So,
death with the crown of
I also
glory!
did soft kick system, which is but I'm assuming they didn't recently change like 5 star or 6 star counts by a kick, but they're just too similar to what we games. stars. So, let's get on to the results. 1,000 times to get an impact. You get 11,814 4-star units of weapons and 1,470 5-stars. 936 of those unlimited, 41 from standard. When holding in one place, you get 12,200
Seems the
4-star units of weapons and 1,681 5-stars, 1,112 expected because modern ways with a higher 4-star and 5-star.
What are you two plotting in Renacita?
Oh dear, madam. Let's leave some mystery for the next chapter, shall we?
You get 1,000 total. Instead, you're guaranteed an extra 6-star token, regardless of whatever you got with the 40. You also get much less 5-stars at 7,945 because Enfield's actually has a pretty low rate of only 8% for 5-stars, but don't worry about that too much because dupes in this game only go up to 5, not 6. Finally, when you bullet Enfield as an F2B player,
It's real! Both of you are safe.
you stop when you get the feature 6-star spark, which does get consumed when you get a feature 6-star, unfortunately. You get the following: 1,191 plus 241 limited 6-stars and 515 standards. This is again entirely expected, although the 50/50 is not guaranteed, because the hard bidding is so low.
Is it not
in
done?
fact hit a worst case scenario, you are much better off in this game. So in the end, as I've always said, this system is a solid 7 out of 10. In fact, when not counting weapons, I would also give Wuthering Whips a 7 out of 10. Enfield is not perfect, and it can still be improved,
When I sent
mainly by making the 120 carryover and or not getting consumed when you get the 6 for it,
The event-
and slash or by making
There's one more thing.
But
We should return to the central hub and sector. I found something tidy there.
Heavily supplemented by the limited you get
Good timing. There's something I need to handle in the Veil of Glory, too. Good. Let's set off together.
This is just not it. This gotcha system is completely fine. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But it's also simply much better than both Wuthering Waves and Genshin. Not only because the simulation showed we got more 6-stars, but also because the weapons are free. Okay, one last disclaimer before we end the video. Enfield did put out a tweet recently talking about how they were listening to feedback. They did mention feedback about gotcha resource acquisition, which doesn't make me think that they're going to change the way it's at home, but instead, maybe the full currency or the arsenal. We of course don't have any official information, but we'll see what happens. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this in the future. Really, let's make this good server for Galvin. Make sure to check out Ray's all in the description. Comment to get $200 in stuff. Thank you again for watching. See you next time.
Travel through a silver veil above the drifting bay.
Hi, welcome back. What do you look forward to installing a gotcha game? Are you looking for characters, gameplay, or story? Ever since the release of Genshin Impact, most gotcha game releases have provided a lived experience with all of the best aspects. The quality and standard were raised with this game, and now when you create an inferior product, it fails. In most cases, when a gotcha game releases, it is very tough to clear the Like versus Wuthering Waves is formed by only a few thorough communities coming from games like Punishing Grey Raven, while a massive portion of its player base lives in deprecated focused collective Genshin Impact players that just wanted a better product. While you might look at these two very distinct communities that really hate each other, I think that Wuthering Waves is a divisive game. There is one that's even going to be more divisive. Lines are going to be drawn all over the place, resulting in arguments.
This point we have 67. This one. This one.
Bloom from ash and shell! Crimson Blossom! It's getting fun. Feed my blossoms, self-deceivers! Reborn from ancient roots! A pivotal moment! Structural collapse! Connection 7. Sprout a budding seed! Interesting.